Got it. Thank you, Jael. Appreciate that. Okay. Um, Randy and Drew, can I just get you off of, can you unmute yourself so that way I can know that you're there and I can have some dialogue with you?
Sure.
Excellent. Hi, Drew.
Hi.
Hi again. Randy, you there? Okay, it's okay. Drew, this is a communication session and I appreciate you signing up for it. Communication is a passion of mine personally as a human being, but it's something that is so integral in our industry, not just in our industry, but as a human being in our personal life and, in our friendships life. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Excellent. So I'm going to start off by asking you, Drew, who are you? And this is not a test. There's no right or wrong answer. I just want to have some dialogue with you, and you're going to have more personable time in regards to who you are. And it's a general question. And again, it's no right or wrong. So I just want to be able to share.
Well, currently I'm a workaholic.
Are you? You're a workaholic. I like that. Thank you for your honesty. So you're a workaholic. Okay. So how do you, or what do you do to communicate to others that you're a workaholic?
Well, it's mostly it's based on clients or people, family, friends. Whenever they reach out to me, they're always reaching out for a reason, more so, and it's always work related or something that I need to solve or do for them. So then I do them. So I'm constantly on the move and constantly working so much.
I appreciate that, and I definitely, and I can hear a little, I can sense a little bit in your tonality of your voice. I can sense a little bit of exhaustion. Am I right?
Very, very much so. Exhausted.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So, let me ask you this. I know the answer, but I want to hear how you answer it. What company are you with?
In terms of real estate,
Correct.
Coldwell Banker Dynasty.
Very good. So if I were a buyer, a potential buyer, and I asked you, what company are you with? Would you deliver it the way you just did?
No, I would probably have more excitement and all that. If I'm talking to a completely different than or just our dialogue right now.
Get it. Okay, good. So you do understand the value of tonality, of how you deliver your message is how it's going to be received on the other end.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Perfect. Why did you become a realtor?
To solve a friend or family problem.
Okay, very good. So you feel that real estate is associated with problems?
No, actually opportunity more so.
Excellent. So I like that. I like that keyword. The keyword of opportunity sounds inviting. So thank you for sharing that. Drew, tell me about your goals in the next 5 years.
Well, I actually am interested in becoming more involved in real estate investing.
Okay, very good. So let me ask you this, Drew. If you're going to be more involved in investing and I were a potential buyer, how would that affect my relationship with you? Would I be competing with you as your buyer?
Well, no, I would think we will be working together to fulfill each other's needs.
Got it. Okay, very good. I like that. I like how you respond and you have a soft delivery, and it makes me feel at ease on my end. So very good. I see that we have Helen on the line. Helen, you're welcome to join in anytime. Hey, Helen, anytime and ask any questions. I started to have a one-on-one dialogue with Drew because I'm not sure if we lost Randy, but Randy is logged on. Okay, so now what? I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. You already know who I am, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. Hi, my name is Sylvia Ramos, and I'm a realtor. I'm also a manager here at Coldwell Banker Dynasty. I love the opportunity to be able to represent you and any of your friends or family, or maybe even people that aren't your friends or family, on the possibility of either selling their home or purchasing a home. Does that sound great? And that's my introduction. So how I delivered that, I want you to have the opportunity, Drew, to be able to give constructive criticism back. How do you feel that message was delivered?
It was average.
Okay, and why would it be average to you, being on the receiving side?
Because I hear that type of delivery often. Like, it's just average. It's a beat, but, average.
Okay, so that's great. Okay, so you sense the upbeat part of it, right? Okay, so average, you're right. It's what we call the elevator pitch. So
Right.
it's very difficult to be able to deliver a message a little bit more intimately if you're speaking to a monitor, as opposed to sitting in front of someone and feeling their chemistry. Wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Great, great. So now I'm going to share with you a quote, and this is from Ben Franklin. And this quote here is, "You tell me and I forget. You teach me and I remember. You involve me and I learn." Which part of this quote do you feel that you gravitate towards?
If you involve me, then I learn.
Absolutely. And I think that's pretty much the most popular one. I just taught over at the Arcadia Association of Realtors communication to upcoming potential vice chairs, chairs, and board members as a past president. And that's one that we all strive for, is to be involved and to learn. There's not much opportunity to be involved and learn, especially in this, at the speed that we go.
Mm-hmm.
And not very many realtors are full-time in this industry, so not everyone is going on the same lane. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So, okay, so we've established that verbal is, oh, Lorena signed on. Hi, Lorena, glad you're here. We've established that communication is verbal. So you heard when I gave my spiel that it was ordinary, that it was average, but you heard the upbeat part of it. So a lot of it has to do with extreme body language, number one. I mean, it's difficult if I'm going to be sitting here and going like this and kind of crossing my arms and saying, "Hi, my name is Sylvia Ramos, and I want you to, I want to sell or buy any of your family or friends' property." Then I come across more uptight and more robotic and flat, to be honest with you. Would you say that communication is visual?
Yes.
Would you say, based on what I just shared, that it is physical?
Definitely.
Perfect. Okay. Can you communicate through your actions and your reactions?
Mm-hmm. You can.
Absolutely. So how we communicate with our actions is in a very positive manner. It's in a very diplomatic manner. How sometimes we can deliver our actions as opposed to being reactional. If somebody says to me, "Sylvia, I want to cancel my listing," then it's important that we stay composed and not react by crying or saying, "Oh, I got to pay my bills." No, that is not going to work. In today's time, COVID has done something to people's psyche. It has done something to people's just mentality in general of how they react and rather than proact. I see a lot of people out there that are more reactional now as opposed to being proactive. And I say that with a lot of sincerity. For example, if you're at an elevator, people are running in and they're just zoned, tunnel vision, but they're not assessing or looking at their surroundings. So they're not being appreciative of the person next door. Thank you very much for holding the elevator for me. And start a dialogue in the elevator. You don't have to say, "Hi, my name is Sylvia Ramos. I'm a realtor. Do you know anybody who wants to buy or sell?" You take interest in the other person. And that's something that we don't often do. Rule number one is listening. So we have 2 ears, 1 mouth. So we want to practice listening more effectively. And when I say effectively in all sense of the word, is not bypassing or channeling out of what others, somebody else is saying. There are people that out there that feel that their words in their mouth that come out of their mouth is more important than the words that's coming out of somebody else's mouth. And they also come across as what's in it for me. So it's important in the industry that we're in to not be that person to do this and walk away without excusing yourself. It's okay to reject a call. It's okay to have a template on your phone and respond, "Unable to speak with you right now, may I get back with you?" Something like that you're acknowledging. Speaking clearly, wow, that's one of my pet peeves. Speaking clearly and eye contact. Eye contact is extremely, extremely important. I used to run an office with 2,000 employees. My boss says to me, my administrator says to me, "Why is it that everybody that comes in here only asks for you? I'm the boss. I'm the one that trained you." And I said, "Excuse me, pardon, don't mean to disrespect you, but you did not train me. I trained myself. However, I do know why they're coming to speak to me. And it's not because they don't respect you. It's not because they don't trust you. It's because I listen." So being professional, how many people out there claim they're professional, but on your end, Drew, you're thinking in your mind, they're not professional. So the interpretation of professional can be so misconstrued. What is your interpretation of professional, Drew?
When somebody's paying attention, how they react, how they present themselves, a variety of things.
Very good. It is a variety of things. Absolutely. It's not that you're showing up and this is what I was taught at the Coldwell-Banker University in 2006. You don't sit there and vomit your words to a potential seller. You listen. And then when somebody asks you, when I said to you, there's no right or wrong answer, I paid $1,000 to be embedded in my head that when somebody asked me, "Who are you?" No one in the classroom had the right answer. Again, no right or wrong. The answer they were looking for was not there. "Who are you?" "I'm a realtor." That's simple. And I thought, but I'm Sylvia Ramos. No, so that's something that I learned and has stayed when they ask me, "Who are you?" And then I say, "Who am I?" And they'll say, "Are you that realtor?" And I say, "Well, it depends. Which realtor are you talking about?" And then kind of create some dialogue with them. So it's not an open shut type of dialogue with them. Because I don't know if you've experienced this or anyone here, Randy or Kelvin or Jean, that when somebody asks you, "What do you do for a living?" And when you tell them, "I'm a realtor," they're like zero out. They're like, I don't want to sell. Keep your card. I don't want to waste your time, and they get nervous. So learn how to continue some dialogue with that person if you're able to save it. Because at that point, some people just totally zero out. And if you hand them your card, they find out you're a realtor. I've had in my career maybe 3 cards handed back to me and say, "Oh, they're beautiful cards. I don't want you to waste your money. I'm not going to sell. I'm going to die in my property." And they go on and on and on and on. And they're really frantic. And then I'll say, depending on the person, I'll say, "I appreciate that. These are very expensive cards. They're called relationship cards. It's not a selling card. So if you do not want to continue a relationship with me, I'd be happy to take the card back. And then they'll start, what do you mean a relationship card? So then I try to overcome those obstacles. So just trying to give you some little hints of how to try to overcome some of those obstacles. Today we have a great thing called social media. You don't need a card. You can ask anyone at any age, are you on Instagram? Yeah. Oh, this is my Instagram. Let me show you what I'm posting. Oh, what's your name? Next thing you know, you're connecting, right? So what else we have here? Don't speak just to speak. Have something to say. And I'm going to ask everyone else who's joined in here to share what I'm sharing with you here. When I was invited to be a board of director, I love to engage in conversation, but there's 11 others in the room. So I learned to be a more active listener and sponge off of whoever was there. And the greatest advice that I received from one of our legal counsel was, if you have to bite your lip until you make it bleed, then make it bleed. Don't echo, don't parrot, don't say something just to say it. Does that make sense? And don't interrupt people when they're talking. How often are there people talking, but they're not really listening? They're over talking you. And that happens so often. So I just wanted to share with you. I think we have, let me see, I'm looking here, I'm being mindful of who else is here. So often people over talk other people. And that's the rule number one not to do, because it's kind of disregarding the other person. Has anyone ever asked you a question and they answer the question and then they ask you another question and it's multiple questions after that and they're answering the questions and you're like, and you just never got to kind of answer anything? I think we've all experienced that at some point or another. Written communication. There are many opportunities of how to communicate. We have email. If you don't have email, we have text. If you don't have text, handwriting, back to handwriting. Have some thank you cards, blank cards, any type of cards, and complete them and hand them out. You'll be amazed as to what a card can do to somebody. Somebody's that's sensitive, somebody is not sensitive. It just kind of touches people. Create a newsletter. If you live in a private community, niche and create a newsletter. If you don't live in a community, then be the block captain of your neighborhood and create some type of a newsletter. Be in front of people's face. That's another way of communicating. Videos. Most of us are shy on a video. Start FaceTiming. How many of you FaceTime? FaceTime, create a video and post it so fast that you can't react to, I don't want to do it. Just put it out there. Let people see that you're out there. I went over to go buy flowers for one of my friends that passed away. And I started a video saying, I'm walking into this florist right now and I'm not sure how I feel. I have mixed emotions, but this local business was recommended to me. And why don't we walk in here together? But prior to that, I had already asked the business owner if it was okay for me to do that. Then I walk in and say, hi, business owner. Thank you for having me here. And I went off of that. I think I had 150 likes like within 5 minutes. They were just pouring in. So people like to see real life, natural life situation. Could be any life trial or tribulation in your life. Not everything has to be perfect. Not everything has to be perfect. Your hair is perfect. You're standing, you're posing. It depends on the message you want to deliver. Your message should always be concise all the time. And then also be detailed. There's a difference. Be factual. It's important that you stick with the facts. And also know your audience. I'm looking at my audience here. I have Helen, I have Jean, and I have Randy, and I think I still have Drew. Yeah, I still have Drew. So I know most of you in person, and it's important that you know your audience. It's difficult for me to kind of gauge the body language or the attention span that I have when it's on Zoom, but it's just something that we have tried to adapt to, speaking into a square with square people. And square people in the shape, not square people in the form of a person. And always include all your official communication. When you're sending an email, fill out your subject line. I know we get inundated with emails, and I probably have 15,000 emails right now, which I'm starting to clean out. But try to be concise with your emails as well. Texting on communicating. If you're not going to say something out loud to someone and in person to them, don't text it. Sometimes we text things that we're not going to say out loud and can be misconstrued or taken out of proportion. There's been times when I text my client and she's not receiving it the way I'm sending it, and she'll respond and say, "Can we talk?" And by the tone of the text, "Can we talk?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm in trouble." And when we get on the call, it's laughter and fun conversation, but sometimes we may overthink on something like that. And I just want you to know that don't be afraid. Do not be afraid. Fear is something that's going to help you grow. Do not be afraid of fear. If a client says to you, "Can we talk?" Okay. We talked a little bit earlier about physical communication. When communicating, do you look engaged? And what I mean by looking engaged is the eye contact. I can see the top of Helen's head, and I know she's working because she's outside of my office, but she's listening. Some people, you need to have eye contact with them to know that they are really listening to you. So that's one of them, of knowing how you're engaged in a conversation. When you have a reciprocal conversation and you have dialogue going back and forth with each other, just like Drew and I were having earlier on this session here. Are you interested? If you're not interested, share why you're not interested. That's part of communicating. Communication is key in so many varieties of business, family, personal, social, anything is extremely important. We talked about the body language. All right, we talked about being professional. And don't forget who you're representing. At the end of the day, you are representing yourself. You are not representing anyone else. You are representing yourself. And if you ever doubt that, get up and stand in front of the mirror and look at yourself and believe in yourself in order to try and convince others to believe in yourself. You don't need to convince others if you come across authentic. If you come across authentic, you're there. Visual communication. We have flyers. You can put flyers together. That can be part of another communication. I mentioned about being a block captain with your local police department. Set up flyers, talk about safety. If there's language barriers, have a translator, have someone interpret for you. Work in a way that you can engage with your community. Don't learn about your neighbors in a dire situation. And I mean by the ambulance is next door, or you have a power outage. Communication again. Video. We talked about videos. We have Broker Caravan. We are one of the most fortunate associations at the Arcadia Association of Realtors that still has physical broker caravans. Communicating with peer-to-peer other realtors, that has a lot of value, especially in today's market. Get to know who your peers are. Establish some type of a rapport with them. Stay in the know. Buttons. When I was president in 2017 of the Arcadia Association of Realtors, I had a button that had the acronym TOC. TOC is an acronym for thoughts, opinions, and comments. I figured if I went up to somebody and they knew I was a president, I didn't want them running away. I didn't want them being afraid of speaking with me, thinking they were in trouble, or I was going to ask them for money, or I was going to ask them to volunteer for something. So everyone has a thought, everyone has an opinion, and everyone has a comment. So that was another form of communication. That's called accessory communication, is what I call it. Apparel communication. There are different types of communication out there. And you can start campaigns. I'm not talking about running for politics campaigns. You can start campaigns for anything in your community. Learn what your community is about. Learn what's happening in your own backyard. Start nurturing what you take for granted. Have you ever driven down the street and you're like, oh man, my neighbor listed their house, I didn't know. Well, if you're not in the know, you're not going to know. Volunteers. Know what you're volunteering for. If you want to get involved and have accolades with any type of a community, let me know. I'm very involved with the Tournament of Roses. I'm involved with the Chamber. I'm involved in a variety of groups, the Red Cross. We started a campaign with the Red Cross, and there were movie actors there. And I sat down and everyone's using a script. So I put the script to the side because I felt robotic. I didn't know the script. I'm not an actress. I wasn't going to learn the script. It wasn't going to be delivered properly. So I just delivered it in my own way. And within 15 minutes, I had fundraised at least $50,000. So then the actors came in because they were doing spotlights on them, and they moved me. I was over in Channel 7. I was in the news department, and they moved me out and they put the actors there. Well, they were not being successful. They put me in another corner, and I was still raising money. Then they moved me again, and I said, time out. It doesn't matter where you move me. It's not the location. It's not, the lines are still the same. It's a pool of phone calls coming in. It's how we're delivering our message. Not everyone wants what you want. So learn that. Learn that not everybody wants what you want. This could be family. Be self-driven and learn to communicate that you are self-driven, that you are driven to do what it is that you're aiming for. It could be anything, could be any type of a goal that you may have. And this is something very rare. Create a feedback loop. And what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example with my own personal, unless anyone here can share with me if you have a feedback loop. Either Randy, Kelvin, Jean, or Lorena, or Drew, do any of you have a feedback loop? So I'll share mine. So a feedback loop is, I have a council of women, strong alpha women that I consult quarterly. These are not women that come over to my house. These are not women that I share a meal with. These are not women that I go hang out with on the weekend. These are random women that I selected and invited, and they accepted to be part of my critique council. So I have a federal judge, I have a pilot, I have a flight attendant, I have a doctor, and I have stay-home mom. And I'll call them with some of my trials and tribulations and say, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what's going on in my life. How would you handle it? And we have that reciprocal relationship. And what I'm alluding to is the purpose for that for me is to be a better version of myself. How can I continue to grow instead of being stuck in a cocoon and trying to figure out and being in that tunnel vision? I want to be able to drive and see the trees. I want to be able to drive and look out through the windshield and not the rear view mirror. I want to be, it's important to look at the rear view mirror, but I want to be able to grow and continue to grow. So that's something that I do for myself. It's not for self-serve. It's not for business. These are well-established people. They're not making any moves, but it's very genuine and authentic. Be consistent. It's important to stay consistent. Always, always, always. It doesn't matter what it is that you do. If you're gonna wear a pair of jeans and put on a cowboy hat, own it. Own it. And then people are gonna wanna be attracted to you. I remember Kelvin, myself, and Mark, we interviewed one of the newer agents at the time in the office. And I showed up late, but I was excused to be late. And I walk in late at night to this meeting. I have my cowboy hat and my boots. And I saw the energy of someone that was sitting like this, kind of shrugged, talking to two others, two males in the office. And when I walk in, this person just kind of, sat tall and the eyes went wider. And I had this person's attention and I was all over it. I communicated with this person. Since then, we've been really, really good friends and we communicate all the time and we boost each other's egos, our morale. And we need that, what I call charging. You know how the Teslas get charged? Well, we need to get charged. If you ever need to charge, I'll be your Tesla charging station here. You come into my office and I'll get that to you. Don't leave people out. That honestly is one of my pet peeves. And my pet peeve is we don't leave people out. I always assess the room. Like right now, I'm constantly scrolling and looking to see who's in the room. If someone's quiet, try to reach out to them in one way, shape, or form. If somebody is your charismatic personality and they are constantly talking, know how to navigate that conversation. So that way you can be all inclusive with everyone. And when you pay attention to little things like that, people will respect you for that. Because at the end of the day, everyone matters. Sometimes we get excited in the office and we're like, you want to go eat? Yeah. You want to go eat? Yeah, let's go. And then when we leave, we're like, wait a minute, what about so-and-so and so-and-so and so? So I don't know. Did you ask? You ask? And we're all rushing and it's just life, try to be more mindful. I know I use that word a lot, but I was raised with that word, being mindful. Think about it. Tips for better communication. How well do you communicate with others that you want to play a huge role with? How often are you left in the dark or other people are left in the dark? These are questions for you to internalize and ask yourself. Thank yous. I talked about that a little bit. Acknowledgements, they really do go a long way. I did a favor for an agent in the community and someone told me he's a king. He's a king of Arcadia. I don't know any kings in Arcadia. To me, I'm an all-inclusive person. Everyone matters. So I get a call from someone that says, Sylvia, can you do a favor for this person? I didn't even know how to pronounce that person's name, but I did it. And I stood up with 2 minutes notice and I got up front in front of 150 people to pitch a property I've never even seen on a flyer. And I did it. And I received a couple of invitations to speak at some functions. And I said, well, if you'd like me to speak up, I can, but I have to really know and be prepared. And they said, you weren't prepared a minute ago and you spoke very well. Well, I guess I just got lucky and I've been very fortunate, and I don't use the word lucky so often. I like to say that I'm blessed because I think about how would I like someone else to deliver my message? How would I like someone else to deliver a message to me? Sometimes that doesn't work though, because how we speak to others may not be the way we want to be spoken to. So again, we want to be mindful on how we deliver our message. And lastly here, I'm going to ask if my group is still here. And this is a test now. I have Lorena, Helen, Jean, Randy, Drew. I'm going to ask you guys a question. I'm going to write this down. I'm going to have a drawing, and the winner of this drawing is going to win a lotto ticket. Okay. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people here. So I'm going to ask this question. Who here is a dictator? I need somebody to answer. It's no right or wrong answer, but in order for you to participate in this raffle, I need somebody to take a title. So these are the titles. Either you're a dictator, an initiator, a charmer, an entertainer, an explorer, a persuader, a diplomat, a socializer, an investigator, an organizer, a counselor, a nurturer, an analyzer, a supporter, a provider, or a pleaser. Who's going to tell me what they are?
I would be an initiator or organizer.
Okay, pick one.
Probably an organizer.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And next, who else in the room is one of these titles, but you can't pick the one that was already picked? So Drew is an organizer.
I'm follower.
You're a follower? Okay, Jean, you're a follower. So that's not one here. If you're a follower, let me see, which one kind of would,
People please.
I'm sorry, which one?
You said something about people pleasing or something like
Yes, that's the one I was going to say, a pleaser. So,
Please.
Jean, would you say you're a pleaser?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, so who else here? Who else here? Randy, Helen, what do you think you are?
I don't think they're really there.
Are you a socializer? Are you a charmer, an initiator, a dictator, an explorer, an investigator? What do you think you are? Yeah, she might be on another call. And Randy, I don't think I can get Randy in here. Okay, Randy, thank you. Randy put entertainment. So you're an entertainer. Awesome. Okay, so here we have identified that we have an organizer, a pleaser, and an entertainer. We can do a lot with this. And we've just communicated and established.
Negotiator.
Helen, there you are. Helen, what would you say you are?
Negotiator.
Negotiator. Excellent. Okay, so negotiator is not one here. So either you're an initiator, a dictator, an analyzer, a provider, a supporter. You know what, Helen? Why don't we give you a provider? You're always bringing food and you're always helping everyone. Would that one be okay for you?
Share.
Okay, so Helen is a provider. Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, and I'm not going to be in the raffle. I'm not going to go ahead and select one. But I think an investigator. I think I fall under an investigator myself. I have investigated many fraud situations, many fraud cases, and I've been an expert witness on a stand. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that one. But with that said, I want to share with everyone here, not to forget to engage in a conversation, to be specific, to be respectful, to have an open mind. Don't be afraid of opposing views. When you speak, know what you're talking about. Okay? And if you don't know, find out. We're at 2:44. I want to be mindful of our time here. Our class ends at 3. Are there any questions that I may answer?
Regarding the
And
class?
anything in general, if there's anything you want to ask, have some open dialogue. Have you ever been in a situation where you're trying to communicate with someone and you don't think it's coming across effectively?
Yeah.
Do you want to share anything, or is there anything that you feel that, I'll give you an example. We had an agent that says, my seller's not listening to me. My seller is not appreciating me. and I want to have a meeting. So we had a meeting, sat down. So the dynamic of the body language in a situation like that, where you have an agent, a listing agent, and you have a seller, and I come in as a neutral party. I sat on the side of the seller. And the reason I chose to sit on the side of the seller is to be able to have that neutral, unbiased body language with this person. It's like, yes, you're in our office. We're here, we're listening, and we're here to help you with whatever needs that you have. And that goes a long way. That goes a long way. And I see Kelvin here. He just joined in. Hey, Kelvin, seen Kelvin here. Welcome back from the cruise, Kelvin. Woohoo!
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be back.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking on and helping lead today's training today.
Of course.
Just got back on my 10-day cruise from the Caribbean and excited to help and see if I can help anyone else in their business as well and supplement anything going on in today's training.
Excellent. Appreciate that. We've had some interactiveness with communication. As you know, Kelvin here joined me in on this communication session over at the Arcadia Association of Realtors, and we sat down side by side, and Kelvin says, "You sure you want me to sit next to you?" And I said, "Yeah." So it was kind of the same dialogue that I'm sharing with you, that when you kind of sit next to somebody, you're like saying, "Here, I'm with you." And when we did that, we empowered the group. The group looked at us like, wow, we're so, fortunate to have two past presidents here with us, and we commanded their attention and we did real well. Wouldn't you say, Kelvin?
We represented well, and ultimately it's for the group and for our association to really just have that presence. And there's a difference between, like I said, attending and participating. And usually, like in a session like today, the more you participate, the more you ask questions, the more you use your brain to think and question what we're teaching or what is the speaker saying, you get recognized when you start to actually show and demonstrate that you're actually following along and wanting to absorb as much as you can. And that's how you get recognized. So that's my suggestion for all of you, is just whenever you come and have this opportunity so we can kind of help develop some of your skills, I definitely always encourage your participation as well as your attendance. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to communication, it's all about just really being transparent and showing it as a professional that you're trying to represent your clients to the best of your business like when you put together your deals. And I find that the agents that send to at least follow up with me, did you receive my counter offer? Did you have any questions regarding my client's information or what we presented? When do you expect that kind of communication with your counterparts shows that they're really serious. It shows that you're hopefully someone that's easier or cooperative to work with. And when it's very close, one offer, 700,000 and 705,000, sometimes you can make a big difference just by communicating to the other party that you're going to be there to be closing at the end of the day, not just opening an escrow too. So I use my communication all the time when I'm trying to put together, especially when I'm trying to represent a buyer well or a seller. I really just try to make sure that they're getting week-to-week updates, letting them, small things like letting them know the activity that we've had on our past open house, what kind of neighbors input they have, or what kind of the people's parties, what kind of negative and positive things that they've said. And then I become more of like not the bad guy when we don't have the offers that they want. It's more like I'm more of on the team, giving them updates, giving them, and that's so important in giving this updates to your clients, whether it's the mortgage rates are climbing or falling down like they did slightly this past week. And these kind of constant updates are going to help you really win your clients over. So I like to give articles that are related to what they're thinking about, or articles about special benefits or home ownership benefits, tax benefits. There's so much out there that we could be helpful on, but a lot of us are not necessarily equipping our clients with the full information. So how do we do that? How do we find better info? Well, I always rely on CAR's website. They have great updates. I like to use InfoSparks when it comes to market-centric data. And I pull reports. I do a buyer CMA sometimes of the area, so I know what the appraiser is going to appraise it at. And I like to utilize this remaining time. Does anyone have any questions on how you might need some help or scripts to help your clients out in your business?
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Calvin,
Okay.
not much scripts, but I do want to talk to you about something else with a listing coming up for me.
Okay. You want to do it offline or you want to do it in here?
No, I'll either reach out to you or Sylvia with
Thank you.
later, or texting or coming
No
in or something.
problem. No problem. We'd love to help you. So we'll talk later on that item. But definitely, I'm happy to hear you might have a potential listing, and we'll go from there, I guess.
Congratulations. Yeah. And I'd like to chime in here and say that I just had someone in the lounge pull the winner. And just so you know, Kelvin, in the room, we have an organizer, we have a pleaser, and we have a provider. And who won is the pleaser, and the pleaser is Jean. Jean, congratulations. Come by and pick up your lotto ticket tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so if anyone has any other questions, if not, I think that concludes our meeting.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Well, hope you guys found value out of today's. Thank you, Sylvia, again.
Sure.
But at the end, I want to say, as we approach the end of the year, it does get activity-wise, it's very hit or miss. And so when you start preparing for your Thanksgiving meal with your family and relatives, everybody's going to want to know what's going on with the real estate market, what's the housing, all the news is so negative, and hopefully you can be there to provide some light on the touchy subject, but definitely the rates has caused a lot of slowdown activity in terms of most of the sales, countrywide. But citywide, locally, there's still quite a bit of activity going on that if you're here working in San Gabriel Valley, there's not a tremendous amount of dip in prices. Yes, it's soft. Yes, there's price reductions going on, and there's subtle kind of differences, but it depends. The answer is always, it depends on where you're searching. Because even though you might be feeling like you're paying a high mortgage payment with a high interest rate, I'm finding that there's values to be had on the price. And when a property is sitting on the market for longer than 30 days, there's definite room to negotiate these prices down. So, I've been fortunate enough, I helped a buyer right now while I was away on vacation. We were already in mid escrow, and I was still able to communicate while I was on a cruise ship. I told her I was transparent. I'm on a trip. I don't have phone, but email me everything, and I'll still handle things, every single day. I was checking my emails, and it looks like we're going to be closing in a week, so everything's working out fine. But I was able to get a huge discount for my client, and because their price was at 800,000, they lowered it to 765, and I'm happy to report we got our price at 735,000. And the seller's paying $10,000 towards my buyer's financing, toward $10,000 towards their closing costs, basically. And it was because of my communication with the other agent that I said, look, it's expensive, the rates are high. We really want to buy this home, but because of our qualifications, we can only afford up to this amount. We're going to need some help on the financing in terms of closing costs. Do you think this will work? And because the listing agent is desperate and the listing agent needed to get this sold quickly because for whatever reason, they were going to probably, it was unsold for a long time. So she worked with me and she got the seller to take a discount. I got the listing agent to cut her commission by 50%. That's not what I wanted her to do, but she offered it, but she only offers it when you ask. And I asked her, this is my buyer's best and final. Can you make it work? And we'll do everything on our part to close it per contract. And we're doing that. And my client's so happy to get a really nice, beautiful pool home for a over 2,000 square feet, single family. And we're only buying it for $735, but net the $725 price. So I tell the buyers, look, yeah, your financing is expensive. It is. They're coming in with 10% down only. They have a 30-year conventional, but they have to pay 1.5 points in fees. And at the end of the day, they are willing to do that because this is a home that they love and it's in really good shape. And secondly, the price is it appraised for greater than the value of our offer anyway. So that made them feel a lot more comfortable. And at the end of the day, I told them refinance in 2 years whenever the rates are more attractive, and then your payments will be much more easier to comfortable for you to basically for the rest of the 28 other years, you'll be able to refinance that as long as you keep your income or hopefully improve your situation, improve your FICO scores, and that's the silver lining. I tell them that they're only paying this high rate for the next X amount of years until they refinance. Because very rarely does anyone ever survive their full 30-year term. You have to be smart. You have to kind of watch the rates. And that's all about money management. So giving them that silver lining helps them feel more comfortable, even though it sucks that they're getting a high interest rate right now because they are. But that goes across any client right now because it is expensive to buy, but the price could be a value. And especially if you're cash buyers, I can tell you, you can even get steeper discounts. So for example, if you have anyone that's looking for an investment property, I do have a beautiful listing right now for any of you cash investors or people that want to flip a property. Check out my listing in Rosemead. I just put it back on the market. It's on 738 Toll Drive, Rosemead. And I'll just share really quickly. This is an easy steal for you and your clients. If you have anyone looking for a fixer-upper, let me share my screen. And this is not to plug in. I just want to help you get an easy sale because I'm giving out a nice commission for this single family property in Rosemead, up in the hills in the quiet area of South San Gabriel, Rosemead. Small 688 square foot home, but needs some TLC. But where can you find a single family in under 550,000? Almost nowhere. Okay, so if you have anyone looking for something like a nice property, a little small project to work on, you can just go ahead and talk with me. But we got a nice big yard, some fruit trees. It has a nice area for planters and gardening. You can have that. You can expand on this. You can make a 2-story if you want to do a large project. And pretty much you just need new flooring, new kitchen, new bathrooms, paint, and whatnot. But you could do a lot, or you could do just the minimal and just flip this property. Up to you. Price is negotiable. I have a motivated seller. It will be delivered vacant. And we just hit the MLS just 3 days ago, basically. So if you have anyone looking for a property like this, you can have a nice affordable home. And it's something that's open for a good value. Any questions? And if not, that marks the end of today's training.
Well, thanks, Calvin. So are you in the office the rest of this week or next week?
Yeah, this week is better. Come in sometime this week.
What day you are around?
Today, tomorrow, just maybe tomorrow or Thursday or today. I'm fine. Is best. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Maybe Thursday. Yeah, maybe
Okay.
Thursday.
Okay.
Okay, I'll see you then.
Okay. Sounds
Okay,
good.
have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Joan. Thanks, Lorena, for joining us. Thanks, Helen.
Thank you, Kevin. And
Mhm.
glad you come back. You must have a very good time.
Oh yeah, I put some pictures on my Facebook already. It's definitely a good time on the cruise. My boy was running around and losing time, just playing with everybody, and he was such a delight. Yeah, he had a good time. We all had a good time.
Very nice.
Okay. See you
Okay.
guys later next time.
Okay, thank you. Oh, ask Sylvia. So what kind of ticket I win?
A lottery ticket for
Oh,
we just do a lottery. Hopefully we win, whatever the lottery is, but we just buy that lottery ticket and you have a chance to win.
oh, Okay. So
Okay.
I went to your office to get the ticket.
Yeah, I'll tell Sylvia to reach out to you, Joan.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
bye.